Yeah, we're so glad you're here. Oh, we're so glad to be together in unity. Don't do that. I expanded my mind so much I could no longer fit through my door. So I had to go see a shrink. One day somebody asked the Swami, they said, I had many lifetimes in when I would throw myself off a bridge. What can you make of this? And the Swami said, well, for one thing, you have to stop jumping to conclusions. Thank you. Somebody appreciates good humor.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad you're at the right place then.
See, I would say that if you laugh or clap or show any positive input on those jokes, that they would continue. But the truth is, it doesn't matter what you do, they will continue.
Well, at least I'm consistent.
Well, you are consistent. Yeah. How is everyone this morning?
Yeah.
Have you figured out that our goal this morning is to have a good time? Have a good time, get some laughter in. How many of you have had your laughter quotient met this week? Okay, if you're working on it, then hopefully by the end of today you'll be up in the meter.
We want to talk about the fear factor. The fear factor. How do we eliminate fear from our minds? First question you need to ask yourself is, what kind of stories are you telling yourself? What kind of stories do you tell yourself? Okay.
Do I get to try that word?
Can you read that for us?
Hippopotam.
Wait a minute. What is?
Okay, what is hippopotomonstrossesquipedaliophobia?
Anybody know? Yes.
It is.
It's one of the longest words in the dictionary, and it's known as a fear of long words. And people have that fear. There's all kinds of fears, right? Now, there's natural fear that we all have. That's natural, that says buckle your seatbelt. That says don't step out in front of a semi-truck, Just natural, normal, we call it fear. It's just a vibration that your body gives you a signal and says, don't do that. Don't go over there. Yeah. Don't be around this person for too long. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's good. That's a good kind of fear, good quality of fear. But the kind of fear we're talking about is the exaggerated type, okay? It's the fear that goes too far. Yeah. It's the fear that possesses us, that takes over our minds. Now, in Isaiah 4:10, it says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed or frazzled, is the word I like to use. Don't be frazzled, for I am God, or I am your divine source. I am always with you. Okay? It's beautiful. Napoleon Hill, he said, fear is the tool of a man-made devil.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't say it. Well, I just did.
Yeah, I know.
But, I was quoting.
That's good. Yeah.
Now, we talked last...
No,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you're getting ready to say something.
No, I was just getting ready to talk about our first principle.
Don't forget.
I was going to talk about our first principle, which is one power, right? There's only one body, there is one body and one spirit, just as you were called to one hope when you were called, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all.
No, in you all.
In y'all.
Right.
In all y'all. Which pretty much signifies that God is in all, everything.
Well, what's the definition of all?
All,
Okay.
everything, inclusive, everything.
Yeah,
So there is no separation.
no separation.
We are all in God. Everyone is in God.
The grooviness in me sees the grooviness in you.
Thank you. You ever have those moments when you feel like you're just off in an alternate universe somewhere?
I think they're having a moment like that right now.
Yeah. I'm really trying to, yeah.
Well, you know, what we tend to do is create scapegoats in life. If you're not taking responsibility for your own actions, your own words, your own decisions, what the mind will do is create a scapegoat, someone or something to blame. Right? Now, I know here in this room, we're not talking about you folks, because you guys, you've got it all together. You figured it out. You're perfect in every way. We're talking about those people out there, you know. They just don't get it, right? So it's finding something to blame. You know, that's what conspiracy theories, that's why they were created. So that you could have someone to blame for things not working out for you. Oh, it's the government. Oh, it's the secret blah, 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 you know, or whatever. And how many know it's just us? Let's say that together. It's just us. So if it's my life, guess who's responsible? Leah. I mean, no, me.
The devil. The devil is responsible.
I see. Yes, yes.
I think that's why some people don't want to give up their ideology about there being a devil, because all of a sudden then they have to be responsible.
Well, you know, the whole
Right?
idea of this scapegoat and the devil came from the Bible in the Old Testament. It's when Israel would commit sins, many times they would go out and they would find a goat. And they would use the goat in order to sacrifice it to get rid of their sins. And we've all been using the scapegoat ever since. Yeah.
All the poor animals over time that have lost their lives to
Yeah.
cover for
It's amazing,
sins.
isn't it?
It's amazing. Did you know that the idea of do not be afraid is mentioned in the Bible 365 times?
He knew. He knew.
Wow. Do we have the YOUers in with us this morning? Ah.
Very good.
Very good. All right. Yeah.
You see, you know, if you really want to know the person who is creating all of your challenges, your problems, all you have to do is look in the mirror and say, there's that little devil. It's looking back at me in the mirror. How many know that in our society today, in our culture, in our world, in our community, we have to take responsibility for our own choices. We have to teach children to be responsible for their own choices, individually and collectively, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean you have to agree. Sometimes I don't even agree with myself, you know. Say, James, why did you do that? I don't know. Yeah. Right? That's the duplicitous mind, the double-minded. And Proverbs says that a double-minded person is unstable in all of their ways. Say it with me. Oh.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so we talked about this just a little bit last week, that we have this tendency to anticipate and mentally over-prepare for the unknown, and we fantasize about worst-case scenarios, and then we get ourselves overwhelmed by all of the possibilities of things that may or may not happen. And there is a juice that we get out of that, right? We talked about last week, it becomes an addiction. It's like we like the buzz that we get off of that. So our challenge is not to step into that over-exaggerating of things. It's fine to think about something that shows up and address what is the worst thing that could happen, because then you can make peace with it.
Right.
But to hang out in that space and to just think of all the horrible things that could go wrong and what it might look like, and remember last week, worry is a down payment on a debt you may not owe. You're fantasizing about stuff that may or may not happen. And in the meantime, you put your headspace in a really bad trip.
Yeah, but that one time it happened. So now
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not logical, is it? It's not rational. Because it's fear. Fear is not logical or rational. And we overly emphasize this stuff, and we build it up in our minds until it's a big thing, and then it becomes a heavy weight,
One of the little tricks that I learned is that the feeling that you often have in the pit of your stomach when you're afraid is also the same feeling that you have in the pit of your stomach when you're excited about something.
That's right, yeah.
It's the same feeling. So why not take that feeling and entertain some better thoughts, some better ideas?
Redefine it.
Redefine it and think about it as being excitement about the possibilities and the potential of what could happen, as opposed to falling into that space of fearing the worst and spooking yourselves out.
That's right. Because life can be spooky, but I'm the one that's being spooky. I'm spooking myself.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like when we had somebody that, when we first built the building, remember that? And they walked in and they said, "Ooh, there's a spooky feeling in here." And we were like, we didn't feel it until you walked in. There was no spooky feeling.
That's right. We can use our imagination for all kinds of things.
Yes, we can.
See, your imagination is one of the gifts. It's one of the 12 powers that we talk
Yes.
about in unity. It's one of the gifts that you have been given in order to access your
Creative power.
your creative power inside. And so, fear is an altered state of consciousness, but it feels so real, But here's the thing about all states of consciousness are temporary. Let's say that together. All states of consciousness are temporary. Happiness is temporary. Sadness is temporary. Fear is temporary. Unless you continue to entertain it over and over and over again. Right? Do you see how this works?
Giving it life.
Giving it, you're the one giving it life. So, a new study says that your imagination can help you overcome your fears. This involves imagining an encounter with the fear, in other words, facing it, looking at it, talking to it, dealing with it, embracing it. And what happens? You realize it's not really a threat. Because that's what it feels like, a threat. It feels like it's going to consume you. It feels like it's going to take you over. It feels like it's going to run over you. run you down. But it's not real. It's a temporary state. Isn't that wonderful? It's temporary, folks. You don't have to continuously buy into it, right? You can change your thinking. Remember what we talked about last week? Change your thought. Change your mind. Change your life. Change your experience.
Yeah.
So we always want to embrace that, you know. Do you know that the most enlightened people do not try and control things? They have learned to surrender and allow life to be as it is.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guru, been teaching for years. And he said, this week, he said in the talk, he said, I'm going to tell you how I achieved enlightenment. I go, really? Okay, I can't wait for this. So all of his people showed up and they were waiting for the words of wisdom. They had their pens and their pencils and their phones out and they were ready to write it down. And he just simply said, I don't mind. Whatever happens, I just don't mind. I just don't let it bother me. Yeah. Right? I don't allow it to control me. Let's take a breath. You said, James, it's too simple, but that's how it works. That's how it works. That's how you get true control of your mind, is by not allowing anything to upset you and bother you from the outside, right?
And that's our practice.
That's our practice.
That's what we walk out in shoe leather every day, is learning that. None of us are there yet.
Yeah.
It's what we're practicing.
So fear can be scary, the things we're afraid of, but what we're really afraid of is the feeling of fear. Okay? Because you're sitting at home in your wonderful house. You got beautiful things around and pictures and, you know, it's a loving atmosphere. And then in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I'm just so afraid that this is going to happen or that's going to happen or this, you know, is going to. And it's like, I'm doing it to myself. Mm-hmm. I'm doing it to myself.
Yeah.
So,
it's like when we go to a haunted house.
yeah.
We know what we're in for.
Right.
Right? We know what we're walking into, and we are purposely putting ourselves through that experience.
It's the same with life.
Yeah.
You know what you're in for, right? There are going to be surprises. Somebody says, well, I don't like surprises.
Yeah.
And you know what I tell them? Be okay with it.
Be okay with it.
Be okay. Say it with me. Here's a mantra. Here's a mantra for you. This is really powerful, and I use it all the time. Okay? You ready? So what?
Yeah.
So what? So what?
Or
You know?
I am at peace,
Yeah.
no matter what.
That's right.
I am at peace. Yeah.
So, you know, werewolves are real. You know what a werewolf is? It's angry people living out of rage and vengefulness. You ever see people change? You know.
Yeah.
Remember that fear is impermanent and maybe even optional. If we treat our fear, our rage, our anger properly, we can release it and move on. All right?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes, you know, I'm talking to somebody and I'm, okay, now, all right, I understand what you're going through right now. And I know that it's hard. It is hard. See, because you can't just tell people, well, just get over it. What do you do when you tell somebody you're in pain? They say, well, just get over it. You get away from that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have no clue about what's happening on the inside of you. Nobody knows what's going on the inside of you, right? And so it's important to, get control of our thoughts. And when these thoughts come in, man, just let them go right back out.
Yeah.
Let them, they'll go through. They'll circulate.
It's like we have a cauldron in our life.
Mm-hmm. Aha.
And we're constantly throwing in a little bit of,
The eye of Newt.
I didn't like that. I would throw that in there. You're right. All those icky things we're throwing into that soup, and we're boiling up. What is it? Boil, trouble and toil and is it? Boil, toil and trouble. Isn't that true? We just boil that pot in our lives and add to it and stir it and taste it every once in a while.
The more vengeful thoughts you have, the more trouble you create for yourself.
The more eye of Newt you have to throw in that soup.
Somebody shows up in your life and you say, no, why is this person in my life? Well, you attracted them. You drew them to you, right? They're just trying to show you, hey, this is what you are doing to you.
No, the devil brought them into my life. I want to go back to the devil.
I don't want to be responsible.
Curses, hexes, vexes, and spells are all real. We do it to ourselves and to each other.
Yeah.
They're really altered states of consciousness. You ever put a spell on yourself? That's what you're doing. You ever curse yourself? All right?
Yeah.
It's like one Halloween we were talking about some of these things, and a lady came up to me afterward. Her name is Helen, and she had recently been to a funeral with a loved one who wasn't really loved too much. But anyway, and she showed me the picture of where they were taking the casket to the graveyard in the hearse. And she said that the guys in the back who were sitting, there with the casket, all of a sudden this energy just popped and broke the window, and there's a big hole in the window. Just and she said, well, that's my brother. That's the way he was. Angry, vengeful. See, that energy becomes a power. It becomes a force. And people carry that energy with them all the time. And they become volatile and violent, So we don't want to entertain that negative stuff because it can take you over and it can become very real. So, do you know why werewolves howl at the moon? Because no one else will do it for them. What do you call a sleeping werewolf? An unaware wolf. Pretty good, huh? Yeah.
Oh, well.
There are other shadow creatures too. And that's what our movies right now, the horror movies and all that stuff, the Walking Dead, the zombies. Mm-hmm. And who are the zombies? Those are the people who are not truly alive within themselves. They're just kind of walking around, I want to eat your brains. What do you think about me? Who do you think that what am I? Who am I? Right? Mm-hmm. The Walking Dead.
Just walking around unconscious.
Yeah. What about the Frankensteins? A Frankenstein is a soulless entity that has no conscience and creates and causes havoc in our society, like many large corporations, with no care, no concern for the well-being of people, but their only concern is for the bottom line. Right? Now, there are corporations that have integrity, that do business in such a way to where they're really concerned about people. Right? And let me tell you, we're entering into a time now to where the only businesses that are going to survive and thrive are those who come from a place of integrity, from a place of love and concern. Yeah, of course you're going to be concerned about the bottom line. Of course. That, it can almost go without saying. You got to have, the capital. But you don't have to abuse and use people in order to do it. Does that make sense? And so all of that is changing. You look around town, and many of the restaurants are going out of business because, number one, they don't care about people. But the ones who have a good product and who, when you go in, you feel like you're the king or the queen, you feel good. It's a pleasant atmosphere. Those are the ones that are doing really well. But then you got the ones you go through the drive-through and people are unhappy. They're sad because they're not getting paid. They're not being appreciated, right? So how many know there's a give and take that has to go on there? Mm-hmm. You have to take care of each other, right? And so many businesses are just like they're going out of business. Yeah. And vampires, you know what a vampire is? It's an energy thief. Yeah. Somebody that you get close to and they start talking about themselves. I remember,
you of your energy.
Remember that time, and I know you'll remember this. We went to this church, and Leah and I were sitting there, and this person got up there, and all they did was just talk about how many jumping jacks they could do. They talked about how strong they were.
Talked about all the people that weren't there too, and
yeah.
It was just like.
And those people out there are not as good as we are in here, And we were just like, it's the first time that I was bored to tears. I literally had tears coming out of my eyes. Oh, this hurts.
Yeah, it
was awful.
Bad. It was pretty bad.
Those are the vampires, the energy thieves. I remember this one person, I was trying to show them how that when you call somebody, you don't just call them and tell them everything is about you. I said, the next time you call me, I want you to ask me how I'm doing. What's going on in your life, James? And so now every time, and this is a young person, every time they call, that's the first thing to do. James, how are you doing? What's going on in your life? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm doing good. And then I say, how about you? How are you doing? Right? And that it's an exchange. It's an exchange. Every time you get around another human being, you have to understand that you're both batteries. You're both batteries. And if you know how to do it, you can charge each other up. Say it with me. Ooh. Right? There's some people I get around, they charge me up. Then there's some people get around, it's like I've been bit in the neck. All right? So always...
Which one am I?
If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you.
Well, I do like to bite.
When we have a little joke about this. When she was a child,
Little, a baby.
Real little,
Toddler.
one of her aunts or something accused her of being a biter. And so, as a child, she has a reputation of being a biter. So I'm always joking with her about that.
I wasn't. It was the devil.
Yes, it was. Was that she-devil? No.
I don't think I ever bit anyone, but I had a reputation.
So we she was teething, yeah. We put spells on people. We cast a spell through our mood, our attitude, right? We cast a spell. The word in the Bible is to throw a net over people.
I put
Try
a
to
spell on
capture
you,
them, take them
now
hostage.
you're mine.
So, but see, you can create a mood. You know how to create a mood? How to create an atmosphere. Ooh, get the right kind of music going.
I put a spell on you.
Not that one.
No.
It depends on what you're in the mood for. But even if you're not in the mood, you can create the mood of a peaceful vibration. You didn't think I was going to say that, did you? A peaceful vibe. Is that what you want in your house? You know? It's like I'm going to have this hip surgery here in a couple weeks, and we went to hip school, joint school,
Joint school.
they called it. And so they said they had all of these links to singing bowls and bells
Meditation and
meditation
relaxation
and
apps
relaxation. And I said, yeah. Way ahead of you on that one. But they have discovered that that's what we need. You can change your inner environment really quickly by what you listen to and by what you see.
So one of the best ways to remove unnecessary fear in your life is to learn to become fully present in the moment. Because right now, right here, in this moment, there is nothing to fear. Right here, right now, in this moment, we have everything we need, right? We feel good right here, right now, in this present moment.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can stay right here, right now, in this present moment, then I'm not creating the playground for all of that stuff to entertain itself and entertain me with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's learning to be present in the moment.
Learning to pay attention to the subtle energies of life, you know. Pay attention to the sounds of the room, to the movements. Watch a cat if you want to learn how to do that. They're sleeping, and all of a sudden, one of their eyes open, there's movement.
Mm-hmm.
And they go on the hunt, on the prowl, because they're aware of the subtleness of life. See, peace is very subtle. It's very subtle. Mm-hmm. And so if you want it, you have to really get still and pay attention and watch it begin to arise inside you. Because if you just keep your mind still for just a few minutes, peace will come. Mm-hmm. Peace will come.
Talking about the cat, it just makes me think last night. It's about becoming attuned to the things that you need to pay attention to. So last night I have a bedside table, and I have a little pocket there, and in that little pocket I keep kitty snacks. And at night when I go to bed, the cats hop up on the bed and I give them a kitty snack. Okay.
But there's nothing for me.
On the table itself, I have
I
have my vitamins, and I have a couple of other things that, make sounds. So I was noticing last night, and I was being very intentional in it. I got my vitamin, and I shook the bottle, because I could see him. He was just right outside the door, Shook the vitamin bottle. Nah, he went, Shook some other kind of crinkly package that sounded very similar to the snack bag. No, nothing. But boy, the minute the snack bag comes out, they know the sound of that. So it's attuning yourself to, there's all of these different things, but what is it that I need to, oh yeah, I'm listening for the sound of the snack bag, right? I've got my, a what?
Aren't we all? Yes.
Yeah. I've got my radar tuned
Yeah,
to what it is I need to
absolutely.
listen to.
So we're going to turn down the lights and get ready for our meditation and our prayer time. And I just invite you just to kind of settle in to this moment. Maybe look at your hands. Notice your hands. Begin to feel the energy that's there. Notice the energy in your hands, the subtleness. And then begin to notice it all the way up your arms, your shoulders, down into your lungs and your chest, and your belly. And notice how your belly just rises and falls. You feel that sense, that subtle feeling of peacefulness moving now through your legs. Your legs radiate energy because you are alive. All the way down to your feet, little toes. Every single one of them are important and radiate and vibrate. Can you feel it? This is what's really real. This is real. Notice that sense, that feeling of being alive. Wow. I choose love over fear today. My fearful thinking is not real. Fear is simply a story I tell myself in my mind. I let go of the story and the feelings attached to it. Today I'm writing a new story where fear has no place. As I am fully present, fear goes away. The future no longer frightens me, and the past no longer haunts me. When I'm at home, I look around and I notice the beautiful painting on the wall. I notice the people in my life, the creatures. I'm surrounded by life and by beauty. I'm not alone. My negative thoughts are gone now. There's so many good things happening in my life to bring me joy and peace, prosperity. I'm so fortunate to have such abundance. I'm full of positive and loving energy. I'm on a new path now, where fear no longer serves me. I got the message. I understand. But today I will follow my heart I will enjoy my life. And from this moment forward, I will live each day as if it was my last. I'll live fully, embracing it all. So breathe now. Notice your breath, how sweet it is. If you have someone in your life that you would like to pray for, maybe there's something going on with someone, I invite you just to bring them into this moment here and now, in your mind, in your heart. And in your own way, say a prayer for them. Surround them with your arms of love and acceptance. And bless them. We affirm the higher good for all of these ones in our lives that appear to be suffering, that are in pain, that are struggling. We love you. We bless you. We behold you as the Christ that you are, a divine being. That's who you really are. We see everything resolving itself and working out for your very best. And so I invite you now to just send around the room that loving awareness, that grace, that peace, sending your light to others. We hold these United States of America in our heart. All the people, every single one. We pray for peace and the highest good for all. The highest good. And we pray for the world now. We hold every nation, every person on this planet in peace. In peace. So I leave you for just a moment in the stillness to reflect and to see what arises in the next moment, the good that is ready to break forth into your life.
And now, before we leave this delicious space, let's reflect for a few moments on our daily word, which is about creativity. Stunning visual arts, inspirational music, a brilliant performance. These are all lovely examples of creativity, but they are by no means the only ones. Creativity is the very nature of life. From the most soaring, soul-inspiring instance to the mundane moments that fill daily life, creative acts abound. Creative activities are prayers in action, a continuation of divine activity in its infinite manifestations. Living is a creative act. It's the way I am in the world, the way I love, and the way I relate to all others. Understanding it in this way, I see how I am using my thoughts, feelings, and imagination to create my experiences. I bring my divine gifts to life through my creativity. So now, taking a breath of that, we bring our focus and our awareness back to this present place, taking a stretch. And let's affirm together the creative energy of spirit expresses through me.